Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and today we are going over my fall TBR. Typically, I have been making TBRs by the month of what books I plan on reading that month, but I thought that since I'm feeling in the fall mood, I'd go ahead and just make a whole seasonal TBR of books that I specifically feel like have fall vibes to them. So this isn't necessarily all of the books that I'm hoping to read over the next few months. This is just the ones that specifically feel fall from what I understand about the books. Not all of them are necessarily set in fall, and it might just be totally my misconception that they feel like fall to me, but that's what this video is. It is finally starting to cool down a little bit where I live. I live in Idaho, and it's just putting me in the mood for fall. So I thought I'd do my TBR. I am going to film a totally separate video of my fall recommendations. So that will be coming in a week or two, depending on how the videos line up with the weeks. But for now, this is just the books that I'm hoping to read in the next 3 months. September, October, November. So yeah, in the next 3 months, these are the books that I'm kind of hoping to get to. I have set myself quite an ambitious TBR, so I don't know if I'm actually gonna be able to do this, but hopefully I can. I've divided this into 3 categories. One is the category of books that I own. Second is the books that I want to listen to on audiobook, and then third are books that I'm hoping to buy and then read. So we're gonna start with the ones that I actually physically own. This comes out to 17 books, which again, very ambitious of me, but we're gonna see how much we can actually get done of this. The first one on my TBR is Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. And this is the same author as 7.5 Deaths of Evil in Hardcastle, which I listened to earlier this year, and I really enjoyed it. This is a mystery. I don't know if you'd consider it mystery or thriller. It's probably more mystery. Both, I think all of his books are. But basically, this one's a very oceany one, so maybe this is more summer vibes, but this would be a good one to read like at the end of August, as it's still kind of summer, but I feel like summer, or well, it's still kind of summer, but I feel like fall. But basically what it sounds like is you've got this detective who's like the world's greatest detective, and he is being transported to another country to be tried for murder that he may or may not have committed. And then he's got his bodyguard with him, who's determined to prove him innocent, but pretty soon they start having issues where they think there might be some kind of devil or something on the boat. So that's this one. I'm super excited. I also think the cover is just so pretty. You can see it's kind of metallic. I love this one. I'm super excited. This one's probably going to be happening fairly soon. I'm reading a few books for a video right now, but as soon as I'm done with those, I'll probably be picking this one up. Then the next one is A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. This will be my second T. Kingfisher. I read Thornhedge earlier this year and I loved it, so I'm super excited for this one. But from what I understand about this one, it is where a couple of adult children come back home to visit their mom, and they find that she's like emptied the house out and is acting super weird, and so they're trying to figure out what's going on with her. And it feels a little thriller horror-y, so I'm super excited about this one. This was another one that might be a good transition from summer to fall, where it's mystery, but it is like set in the South, so I don't know how fall it will feel, but I feel like thrillers are always a good option for fall vibes. Alright, and then one more mystery thriller on my physical TBR is And Then There Were Four. I got this one secondhand from a library sale, and it's been a year or two now, so I definitely need to get this one off my physical TBR. Basically, let's see, it's been a while since I read this. So you have 5 high school students that are brought together, and then they can't figure out why they've been summoned, but the roof collapses and they just barely escape it. And then they keep having freak accidents, and they're trying to figure out exactly what is happening, who's trying to kill them, and what actually brings them together. So this one will be interesting. I think this one's like more of a YA, so it will be nice to mix it up a little bit. And then I have 3 fall themed classics that I'm hoping to get through this year. One that I was planning on reading last year and then didn't actually ever get around to reading was Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I don't feel like I need to describe what this one is, but I have never actually read the book, so I would love to get this one off my physical TBR actually have read it. So I don't know. Enough said about that one. Don't need to dwell on that one too long. The next one is The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Other Stories. Obviously, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is a very famous story that is referenced in a lot of things. I feel like you're often hearing references to it, and so I think it'd be interesting to have read the actual thing. And then there are a few other stories in this bind up. I believe they're all by the same author. So it looks like The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, A Lodging for the Night, The Suicide Club, Thrawn Janet, The Body Snatcher, and Markham are maybe the three. I'm not entirely sure how to say that. But yeah, so this one will be a fun one to just kind of work my way through. It's sometimes nice to have a collection of short stories to just have something that you're picking at throughout the spooky season. So I'm excited for that one. And then the last one is probably the most classic of classics, probably tied with Frankenstein, Dracula. I'll definitely be reading this one in October. This one feels like the perfect Halloween read. I really like this edition that I have of it. I've got this one secondhand. Again, I love the idea of vampires. I think they're so fun, and I've never read Dracula, so I think it is about time that I got to this one. Those are the three classics that I'm hoping to read. And then the rest of the books from my physical TBR are fantasies. And not all of these fantasies are necessarily specifically fall themed, but I feel like fall is just the perfect time to be reading fantasies in general. So these are the ones that I for sure want to get to this fall. The first ones are, which order do these go in? Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising. These are the second and third book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I might end up rereading Shadow and Bone. It's been a while since I read it, and so I don't know if I 100% remember everything. So I'm going back and forth on if I reread that one. I might just pull up like a plot summary online and then dive into it. I haven't fully decided, but I did really like that one. I just haven't gotten back into it, and then it hit summer and I've been kind of waiting for fall, winter to read these. I don't know if I'm going to get to Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I do have those ones, but I feel like that's just a few too many books to put onto one TBR. So if I get time, I might try and pick those up, but I do want to finish this trilogy first. Okay, and then this one is one that is specifically for a video that I'm planning on doing, but it is fantasy and it feels fitting for a fall TBR. This is The Fisherman King by Katrina Modad, and this is based off of Brunei? Is it Brunei? I don't know. Folklore, essentially, I believe. Something like that. But basically it's about this fisherman who believes that he's descended from royalty, and now he's setting out to try and prove it. Returning to the water village after 8 years, he reconnects with his wife to recover an underwater treasure that will establish his royal birthright. And then it sounds like there's some mysteries about what he was really doing while he was away trying to prove that he's royalty. So I'm super excited about this one. I have one other book by her as well that I might try and get to, but again, it was getting kind of long, so I decided to just pick the one that I for sure want to read. If I get to the other one, that'd be great. All right, and then the last two that I have are another second and third book in a series. These are the books of Umber. I recently listened to the first one on audiobook. These are rereads for me. I read them when I was a kid. And I remembered how much I liked them, so I did end up purchasing the physicals of them. Book 2 is called Dragon Games. Book 3 is called The End of Time. And these are middle grade fantasy that basically you're following this guy, this named Umber, and he finds this kid that they end up naming Happenstance, who doesn't really remember anything about his past. And you kind of go on this fantasy story. There's this evil creature guy thing that is trying to capture Hap. And yeah, I can't say a ton without spoiling things, but I would like to read the next two. I might end up listening to book 3 because it is on Audible Plus, but book 2 isn't, so I'll for sure be reading that. But I would like to finish up this series because I do really enjoy it. Alright, those are all of the physical ones that I am hoping to read. Next, let's talk audiobooks. I don't have a ton of plans for audiobooks because the ones that I do want to listen to are really long. I recently listened to Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, and I'm currently in the middle of Royal Assassin, which is book 2. So this is called the Farseer trilogy. I believe it's kind of the first series you're supposed to read as far as getting into her whole... Oh, I can't remember what the universe is called it now. I don't know, her whole universe of books. is you start with these ones. So I do want to finish listening to Royal Assassin. I'm about 6 hours in, I think. I have a little over 20 hours left of the audiobook, and then Assassin's Quest is the third book, and so I would like to finish that one up. So if I can get through that trilogy, I'll be feeling pretty good. So that's all I'm going to put on audiobooks. There are lots of other audiobooks that I have on my radar if I end up finishing those, but because those are so long, I didn't want to add even more to my list because this is a lot of books already. And then the last category is books that I'm hoping to buy and then read. I did recently just barely finish the Good Girl's Guide to Murder, book 1. So I do want to get the rest of this trilogy and read those two. It's Good Girl, Bad Blood, and then As Good as Dead. I do not own second and third book yet, so I do need to get those, but I do think I want to read them. I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder really quick, so I think that these ones will be nice, fast-paced ones. And like I said earlier, mysteries and thrillers, always a good fit for fall. And then this one is specifically going to be in October, Stay in the Light by A.M. Shine. This is book 2, or the sequel to The Watchers. I listened to that one not that long ago and I actually really enjoyed it. I was kind of surprised because it's the first book that I think I've ever read that fits solidly into the horror genre. So I wasn't so sure about this one, but I actually really enjoyed it and I'm really excited about the second one. So it comes out in October, which means I have to wait until then, but I will be getting my hands on it. Whether it's through audiobook or physical, I'm not sure yet, but I will definitely be consuming that one somehow in October. And then the last one is I cannot make a fall TBR without having an Agatha Christie book on there. So I've been going back and forth. I've read all of the Agatha Christies that I currently own, so I will need to go and purchase another one, but I definitely need to read at least one this fall. I think what I'm going to do is I've been trying to go back and read the Perot books in order, so I kind of jumped around just grabbing random ones, but now I want to go and start and read them all the way through before I get to the last one. So I've been saving that one. That one for sure I need to read after I've gotten through all the other books. I don't want to read like the last Perot book without having read the rest of the series. So the next one that I have, if I'm reading them in order that I haven't read, is The Big Four. So I think that's the one I'm gonna hunt down, and I will for sure be reading that one this fall. I love Agatha Christie's. I can read those in a day, so it'll be a nice one to just like have on a weekend and just binge read it. But that being said, that is my fall TBR. It is highly ambitious of me, but I would love it if I could get through all of these books in the next 3 months. A little more than that. It is still August when I'm filming this, so I do have like we're in the last week of August. So I don't know that I'll actually fully start on these. I have a few other books that I'm reading, so I probably won't start reading these until September. But in the 3 months, I'm hoping I can read these 17 books. So let me know down below what books are on your fall TBR. I'd be very interested to see. Obviously, I probably shouldn't be adding any more to my TBR, but maybe I'll grab some from this comments section next fall. Like I said earlier, I will have a fall recommendations video coming out in probably a couple weeks. So keep an eye out for that if you want to know some of the books that I have read that I would recommend for fall. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.